Booba, the superhero. It's a sunny day and Booba is sat at home. He doesn't want to watch the TV. Running up and down the stairs is boring. And he hasn't got anyone to play hide and seek with. What can he do? Booba finds a book filled with pictures of superheroes. One superhero is very strong and can lift up a car. One superhero is so super that he can float. And another superhero can run as fast as lightning. Booba wishes he could be a superhero too. Maybe Genie Booba can help him become a superhero. Booba runs to the bookcase where there is a magical lamp perched on a shelf. Booba takes it down, lifts the lid and peers inside. But there is no sign of Genie. He turns the lamp upside down and starts to shake it. But nothing happens. Thinks Booba, where is Genie? Booba turns the lamp upside down again and taps it on the bottom. Suddenly, the air around him starts to twinkle, and moments later, Genie Booba appears in a puff of smoke. Excited, Booba shows Genie his superhero book. He pretends to be a superhero and strikes a superhero pose. Booba looks just like a superhero, and Genie agrees. He nods, clicks his fingers, and a superhero costume instantly appears on Booba. This is what Booba has dreamed of. A superhero costume with a red cape on his back. Booba is so excited he jumps for joy. However, he doesn't just want to wear a superhero suit. He wants to be a superhero. He flips through the pages of the book and shows Genie the pictures of the superhero flying. "Ha!" exclaims Genie. "Easy!" Genie raises his hand. The bells chime again, and then Genie rises into the air and spins around. Booba is impressed. Genie floats back down to the ground and points at Booba. It's his turn to try it. Booba's eyes light up. He raises his hand to the sky, but nothing happens. He waits, and he waits until the familiar sound of the bells is heard, and all of a sudden, Booba shoots into the air. He shoots from side to side, bumping into anything that gets in his way. This carries on for some time, until Booba eventually gets the hang of flying. Booba is excited at his newfound superhero skills and flies around the room enjoying himself before he eventually lands back on the ground. He's excited to have learned how to fly. But Booba wants other superhero skills too. He shows Genie the pictures from the book, with the superhero lifting weights. Genie flexes the muscles in his arms. Booba does not notice any changes in him at first, but then the bells chime again. And Genie suddenly and easily lifts the sofa into the air. Wow! Booba is very impressed. Genie waves at Booba. Your turn. Mimicking him, Booba flexes the muscles in his arms. Silver bells chime. Booba runs up to the table and grabs a huge apple. Genie looks at Booba doubtfully. You don't need any superpowers to lift an apple. So, Booba takes a large plate of fruit. But this doesn't impress Genie either. Suddenly, Genie himself is in the air. Booba's special superhero powers have lifted him up into the air. This makes Booba giggle, and Genie seems to like it. Booba's special powers cause Genie to fly like a gymnast, but Genie doesn't like it. Genie isn't a toy, he's a wizard. Booba can see that it is making Genie grumpy, so puts Genie back on the ground. But Genie isn't mad at Booba, he thinks it's funny. Booba opens his superhero book again to show Genie the pictures of his hero running at lightning speed. He runs faster than the wind. Suddenly, the bells chime again and the magic is about to happen. Booba poses just like the superhero runner and he races across the room super quick. He thinks he's a racing car. and races around the room without even noticing that his super speedy running has knocked Genie to the floor. But Genie doesn't mind. He's enjoying watching Booba have fun. His job is done, and Booba doesn't need Genie anymore. So he clicks his fingers and disappears. Booba is alone and can't wait to use his superpowers. He looks out of the window into the garden at the front of the house. He spies Spike climbing a tree, reaching for an apple. But he's struggling to reach it. Booba thinks that maybe he can help him. Booba uses his superhero powers and flies up to the tree and safely puts Spike down onto the lawn. But Spike doesn't like this. He's not happy at all. Spike still wants the apple. He climbs the tree again, and this time he manages to reach for the apple. Booba sighs. Spike doesn't need a superhero after all. Booba knocks the tree trunk, knocking all the apples to the ground. And a surprise Spike. Booba is worried that he's hurt Spike, so he picks him up, forgetting that hedgehogs can be very spiky. He puts Spike back on the ground and decides to go and find somebody else that he can help. Booba spies Mr. Beak sat alone wearing his headphones. He's flapping his wings frantically. So Booba thinks he needs some help. Booba immediately rushes to help his friend. He grabs Mr. Beak and rescues him from the island and brings him back to the mainland. But Mr. Beak isn't happy at all. He doesn't need a superhero to rescue him. He was very happy where he was. But Booba is confused. Wasn't Mr. Beak in danger? Mr. Beak takes off his headphones and puts them on Booba. Booba realizes that Mr. Beak wasn't in danger. He was listening to music and doing some exercises. Mr. Beak flies back to the island. Oh dear, Booba is sad. Being a superhero isn't as exciting as he thought it would be. But just as he's about to give up, he spots Lula lying down in the playground. She's holding some very heavy weights, and it looks like she's struggling to keep them up. Booba thinks she needs his help and rushes to save her. But as soon as Lula lets go of the weights, Booba decides to throw them away. They're obviously very dangerous things to have around. Booba soars up into the sky and tries to get rid of it, but it's very heavy and immediately falls to the ground. Lula barely has time to jump out of the way and covers her ears as it crashes to the ground next to her. Lula stares at Booba. She's not happy. Being a superhero isn't as much fun as he thought it would be. Booba takes off his costume and walks away. Maybe reading the superhero book will cheer him up. He wanted to be a superhero so much, but he doesn't think he's very good at it. Suddenly, Mr. Beak, Spike and Lula appear above him in a hot air balloon. They ask Booba to come and join them, but he doesn't want to. He's feeling sad and wants to be alone. His friends shrug and take off without him. They're all having a lot of fun when Spike notices a butterfly sitting on the edge of the basket. Spike watches it as it flutters up into the balloon. Spike is curious and wants to watch it, so he scurries up into the basket to take a closer look. But, uh-oh, hedgehogs are spiky, and he's popped the balloon. Oh dear! The balloon begins to go down. Now the friends are in trouble, and they really need some help. Who will help them? Booba hears them and immediately leaps up. Do his friends really need help, or are they just playing with him? Booba remembers how Spike, Mr. Beak and Lula looked at him when he tried to help them. He doesn't want to do the wrong thing again. But they're all still shouting for help. Maybe they do need a superhero after all. But Booba doesn't have his superhero powers anymore. But his friends are in trouble and they need him. He must try and help them somehow, he thinks. Booba grabs a long ladder and chases after the hot air balloon. He climbs the ladder, but it isn't long enough and he can't grab onto the basket. The balloon gets carried away towards the forest and suddenly becomes stuck in the branches of a tall tree. Pretending to be his favourite superhero, Booba runs up and stands under the basket, trying to keep it steady so that his friends can jump out of the basket. Lula, Spike and Mr. Beak jump out of it onto the lawn. They're safe now. Hooray! The friends cheer Booba, their hero. Booba is so happy that he finally helped his friends. He lets go of the basket and strikes a heroic superhero pose. But the basket doesn't fall to the ground. The deflated balloon is caught on a branch, balancing the basket all by itself. Booba wasn't needed after all. But Mr. Beak, Spike and Lula don't think that at all. They needed their friend and he came to the rescue. They lift him up into the air. For them, he is a real superhero because he was there when they needed him.